Hey, welcome back to Max Nave Horsemanship. I'm glad you could be with me today. And I want to, before we get started here, I want a quick shout out here, say thank you very much to any of you that have been sharing my videos or my channel. I really appreciate it. It helps. And to those of you that have not, shame on you. And this isn't about me. It's not about my popularity or how many subscribers or views I get. It's about the horse. And hopefully these videos are actually going to do some good for the horse. So if you care about horses, share these videos. Now, behind me here, as usual lately, we got the off-the-track thoroughbred who has absolutely severe separation anxiety. And he still does too. He's getting better, but he's still got a long ways to go yet. I'm not sure if he'll ever get there, but we'll see. We got a few more tricks up our sleeve. Once we're done on the ground, there's some ridden things that we can do come spring that will help the problem. But I also want to talk about, and it has to do with him, because I want to talk about symptoms versus problems and how we very easily confuse the two. And yet again, it happened to me. That's how easy it is to have happen. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And, I was just recently talking to his owner, and I discovered that apparently he's so bad with his feet that during his last attempted trim, they finally gave up and said, we'll try again another day, because he was that bad. Now, I just assumed that I've talked about this before, problems and symptoms, and I thought that was just a symptom of his problem. Well, it may have not been the only one, as it turns out, since I've been working with him. I've actually, I just assumed that, well, when he's being trimmed, he's away from the other horses. He's probably in a box stall or tied up somewhere or who knows what, segregated from other horses altogether. And so it didn't surprise me at all that he wouldn't be real good with his feet. It kind of, goes along with his problem. It's a symptom, okay? It's a symptom. But I thought, just for the fun of it, because I kind of do this stuff too, so I thought, well, let's see if we can work on his feet a little bit. And now I know that he's still a little bit worried, and if you actually are, paying attention right now, you'll notice he's a little worried right now because I actually just brought him in. And probably 50 feet away on the other side of the door over there is his buddies that he really likes to be with. So he's a little worried right now. It's okay. But anyhow, back to his feet, I assumed that, the problem with him getting trimmed or not was just a symptom of his problem. But it turns out that's not the only problem he's got. I would guess that it's possible that nobody has ever bothered to teach him how to pick up his feet. Because I thought I'd try that just the other day, and took a while, but he finally picked up a foot for me. And I did it a few times. And by the time I'd picked up his foot for about, fifth time or so, he was actually getting not bad. Which leads me to believe that the problem with his feet wasn't, in fact, his problem of separation anxiety, but the fact that maybe nobody ever bothered to teach him how to pick up his feet properly, unfortunately, and that happens. And especially being that he is, in fact, an off-the-track thoroughbred, they aren't very thorough with their training. If they can get a rider on his back and have him run around a track, that's good enough. That's all they want. That's all they need for a racehorse. All the stuff that I've been doing with them, like teaching them to disengage side pass and stand at the mounting block, and had them side pass over top of a barrel yesterday, which actually went not too bad. Thank you, sir, but keep your big head out of my way. Nice guy, he really is. But all of those things are things that just are not typical of the training of an off-the-track thoroughbred. In fact, a lot of horses, for that matter. Now, in his particular case, why am I teaching him all this stuff? Well, it's not so much about the individual things, although he needs to learn them too, because we've been teaching him to stand at the mounting block for us and all kinds of stuff. Totally practical things that you can make use of. I've got him a lot more sensitive to the lead now. When it comes to leading, he's much more maneuverable, things like that. And, so they're all practical things that we're teaching him. But one of the purposes of doing this is, like I said back quite a while ago when I first started working with the Worried Girl, I said, it's about getting her focused on me. And in this case, by simply giving him things to do, it gets him focused on me and not so worried about the rest of the herd out there. And that's why right now when I first bring him in, he's still pretty concerned. But the longer he's in here, the better he gets, and he'll chill out and just hang out with me and do whatever I want him to do. And he's actually a pretty smart, willing guy. He's a smart horse. Unfortunately, I think thoroughbreds, well, I've mentioned it before, they get a bad rap. They are not the nut bars that people make them out to be. He's actually a really nice guy, and if it wasn't for his separation anxiety, he'd be a pretty wonderful horse. And I wouldn't mind having him myself, but I don't need any more horses. Thank you very much. Now, excuse me, sir, you're in my way. And just, you see how good he's getting? He's very sensitive to the halter, and even now he's preoccupied with other things, and yet he still responds to what I want. Oh, one of his herd, knew that was coming. One of his herd mates just called outside. I don't know if you could hear him or not. And of course, he had to answer, but you notice he stayed here. He didn't go running over to the door where his herd mate's on the other side making all the noise. So, there's some improvement there, and progress doesn't always happen overnight. Doesn't happen in leaps and bounds. Sometimes it's little bits, and go back to my channel here. My number of subscribers have gone up a little bit. The number of views have gone up a little bit. Not a lot. Watch time and the subscribers. It's going in the right direction though. It's progress, and it's not unlike horse training. Even if it's we don't end up with 1,000 subscribers and enough views or watch time to make money off the deal. It doesn't matter. He's making progress. That's sort of thing. And he's doing okay. And the things I ran him through yesterday, I was actually really impressed with him yesterday. He did extremely well. Came in the door good. Stood at the mounting block for me. Like I said, side passed over the barrel. All these things. And this actually brings up another thing I wanted to talk about too, and I've mentioned it before quite a while ago in one of my videos, is don't worry about comparing your progress to yesterday, because you're not dealing with yesterday's horse. And from one day to the next, he has good days and bad days. And even, yesterday is not my benchmark for what we're doing today. Today, my benchmark is, where we start and where we end today, not yesterday. I don't care about yesterday. Yesterday doesn't matter. Yesterday he was exceptional. It'd be pretty hard to beat yesterday as far as he goes. So I'm not even going to consider that. But if beginning to end there's an improvement, we've made progress. And that's where people get frustrated too, is they're working with the horse and they think that the horse today that they're working with should be as good as the one yesterday. Forget about yesterday or the day before or last week or last month or any other time. Just worry about today and the one thing that you're working on, or two things or whatever, depending. And if there's improvement, there's improvement. And that's all that matters. If you're making progress, you're making progress. And from beginning to end, if today I decide I'm going to try to get him to do something that he has actually, in fact, done before, I'm not going to compare it to the fact that he's done it before. I'm going to just play it like he's never done it before. And if from beginning to end he does it better or does it at all, we're happy with that. It's an improvement. It's progress. If I was to compare to yesterday, I could probably get frustrated pretty darn quick with today, because compared to yesterday, I doubt very much he's going to be near as good And I'd get a little discouraged and frustrated, and I'd think there's something going wrong. But that's just the way it is, and it doesn't matter. You always hear about mares and geldings. Oh, geldings are better. He's a gelding, and he has good days and bad days. I've got 3 mares, and guess what? I can't even tell when they're in heat, so they don't get marish or any of that nonsense that people just assume that they do. Is the potential there? I'm sure it probably is, absolutely. I'm not going to say it's not there, but I'm not going to ever make the foolish mistake of thinking that geldings are steady eddies that are always exactly the same every single day. They might not be. And you're going to go, what the heck's going on and what's going wrong? Well, you know what? Geldings have good days and bad days too, and that's another one of those things that you've got to understand. And it doesn't matter. And don't assume that your horse is, if you got a mare, don't assume that it's cycling or any of that stuff if it's not on on the same page as you that day. There's just that's just the way they are. Any horse, absolutely any horse. So that's another one of the things I want to talk about. Yet again. Symptoms versus problems, and deal with the horse that you got with you today. Never mind yesterday, last week, or last month. Today, this horse. This is the one you got to worry about, not any other one. Okay? Have a good day and go play with your horse.